Whoa, I hit recorded drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets. When I'm performing, never boring, now you can't afford it. Champagne Perrier, Finnish friends on my face. Looking like I'm from the D. D's no Cartiers. Pockets deep, 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 bro. I can make it in my seat, bro. Do you, I'm doing me, bro. Making noise, use a beat, bro. Whoa, I press the button and the doors go off like, whoa. That money clip us now, the new now looks like, whoa. Upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like, whoa, 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 whoa. Neighborhood on the scene, neighborhood on the strip. Neighborhood be the name, neighborhood no crib. Neighborhood that's me, neighborhood that's Nick. Neighborhood do the dance, neighborhood do the deal. Okay, thought I'd never make it like no way. I'm the real deal, no role play. My days off, that's no days. No, I hustle hard, yeah, I'm rose. E be the shooter, that's cold case. Those on the deals, that's brose. Got no pay, don't no say. Okay, this the new, tell them read it. Been the one since a fetus. Don't sleep on me, Tempur-Pedic. That's a no, no, no. Spin it dope.
What up?
Yo.
We are live. I think just barely alive.
Just barely.
But we are clinging on to a thread. The reality is it's always good to talk Bored Ape, no matter the sentiment. We're going to get into some sentiment talk, but it's good to just talk to y'all. Shit, how you guys been? How you been, Bryce? Will is
doing good. Yeah, I just removed Will. I don't know if he's here or not, but
he's here in spirit. But how you been over the last week or so, my friend?
Last week's been good. Super busy. Touching some grass, and then just busy with work. Today was super. I know you had a really long day today. Mine was longer than usual.
Yeah,
training. So I was on a Microsoft Teams call for 8 hours today, which is not fun.
Oh man, that's like the best thing ever. We live for that. Man, I had a long day. 4:30 wake up call. Playoff baseball. We won 2 games, which is great, but I'm freaking wiped. And I guess it's okay that there's not as much time for me to like be staring at NFTs all day because it's been pretty bearish overall. And I think that's where we'll start. It's just like sentiment, like how are we feeling? Obviously, well, maybe not obvious, you know, if you're not necessarily tapped in as much as us psychos are, meme tokens going off the last 5 days or so, and Pepe is the number one that's really ripped, and these are shit coins, and that's not, by the way, that's just what it is. I'm not hating on that, but it's made NFTs just like there's so little talk. And again, that's not a surprise because we've seen this before, not just shit coins. Whatever the new meta is, we'll see that for a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month. And then it'll rotate into something else. And so for someone like me, and I would say you and Will as well, for the most part, we're definitely interested in NFTs as a whole. That could be flipping, that could be staking, farming, whatever it may be. That's kind of where that's our lane. Dude, it's been fucking bearish, my dog. Like I have felt like a grizzly bear today. Not just a bear, a grizzly freaking
grizzly bear. Yeah, it's funny. I'll always find Will and I, we get into like these little, you know, we'll have like a day or two where back and forth, we're just straight bearish.
Right.
And then we look back in a week and we're like, dude, we almost sold everything and like pieced the fuck out. Just because like, you know, we start talking, it's like, who really wants these apes for like $100,000, right? Like, are they really worth that? Like, you know, just
all right.
You start questioning everything, and then you're like, is this a Ponzi scheme? Like, what is going on here?
It's definitely, I haven't been that close to selling, but I've 1000% had that thought still cross my mind, where you just start sitting there like, man, am I fucking insane?
We're going to look back and be like, dang, I could have gotten 100K for the ape, and we just sat there for months and didn't do anything.
Right, exactly. And so I don't like, again, still bullish on the tech, still bullish on the couple NFT projects that we like, and obviously Bored Ape and Yuga being at the top of that and everything underneath their umbrella. But there's other projects that are doing some cool things, and still bullish on all that. But man, the timeline has just been like, it's been freaking brutal, dude, because there's like it's like crickets when it comes to anything related to NFTs. And I guess this will segue into I ask you this off air, but we'll talk about it here too, is does it actually really matter right now, at least, what NFT projects do for utility? Not for price per se, but for people to actually care. Like, how much do people actually care about what projects are delivering currently, in your opinion? I know it's a tough question.
That is a tough question, right? Because every project's different, right? Here in Yuga Land, we're like just waiting for the next activation, the next game, the next kind of continuation of lore. With Moonbirds, you're sitting there waiting. What kind of mythic egg did I get? With Meme Land, you're like, oh, when meme coin, when reveal, when do we figure out what maps and valuables and potions and all this stuff do? So definitely, like, every project's different, and for sure, I mean, utility matters, right? Because without utility, all these prices are just going to go to zero. So I definitely think it still matters, but whenever the market, like whenever ETH and Bitcoin start moving, I think people tend to not give a shit about that, and they would rather, sell their NFT and go with something that's moving up.
And this is obviously just a complete guess, but I'm going to put a layer on this question. What percentage of, and I'll go through the couple collections you mentioned, because those are the ones that are, and I'll even throw Azuki in there if you hadn't, just because that's another project that's been doing really well. What percentage of holders do you think actually care because they want to do or experience that activation? And then what's the percentage that are simply looking for, hey man, and this is not a slam, by the way, they're looking for, boom, oh, something's coming, I'm ready to, whatever that airdrop is or whatever that activation is, I'm ready to flip it now for that profit. What do you think it is? Do you think it's a 50-50 split? Is it leaning one way or the other? What do you think?
I would definitely say, and I'm sure every community is different, right? Like, we definitely have some Yuga Maxis, yourself included, that it's like, I don't give a shit about any other project. I just want to focus on Yuga. And so, I'd probably say like 15 to 20% like truly care, and they're like, I'm not going anywhere. And then there's probably like 80 to 85% that are here to make money.
Yeah, no, for sure. And what I'll say is, I think I would agree with that. It's probably like 20. If I was guessing, just again, complete guess, I'd say about 25% versus 75%, just looking for the flip. And also to be like transparent, I'm trying to make money too, but it's in a different way, right? Like, I'm not really looking at, and I'll just say I'll stay in Yuga lane because that's really where I'm like laser focused the last 6 months or so. Is I'm not looking to, when heavy metals revealed or whatever, when we played Dookie Dash and I got my score, I wasn't like, oh man, here we go, I got this score so I can sell it for this price point. I didn't even think about listing them, to be fair. And maybe that makes me dumb, but like my investment and my hope of making money is that some of these things will, in a way, get you other stuff, right? Like, you play the game and you get these items, maybe you get some ape token depending on what the game is. The Legends of Mara, like these vessels are turning into Code of Mara. What does that look like? Why is that important in the other side? And yeah, it's all speculative, but I guess for me, I'll ride that speculative train. And I think that the percentages have also definitely changed over the last 6 months for sure, where people are they're wanting to stay more liquid and I think have more dry powder and also just have more ETH and Bitcoin. Like, and at the end of the day, like, that's a great play. And don't get me wrong, like I'm working on a bag myself, but I'm ready for these activations for Yuga because and I hope they're fun, obviously, but I just want to see what that looks like and what the sentiment, does it change? Is it worse? Is it better? And how does it impact? I don't know. Again, like, how do Yuga holders look at this next activation? I feel like everything that anyone's done lately, everyone just fuds the shit out of it. Like 60 to 75% of the space is just like, this is the worst shit ever. And it's like, dude, you realize you spent like $5,000 on a piece of shit, like horny kangaroo NFT like 2 years ago, and it had zero utility. Oh, yeah, you forgot. So it's like an interesting dynamic for sure. And by the way, it doesn't mean you can't have an opinion. You should have an opinion, and you should be able to hold people accountable, and you should be able to disagree with things they do. All those things are fair.
Valid.
but let's also I don't know, slow our roll occasionally because a lot of us haven't actually tried to do a project in our lives. And if we did, a lot of us would fail.
That always just makes me think of the Gordon comment where he's replying to Tropo and he's like, I don't know, Tropo, why don't you start a project and see if you get everything right?
For sure. For sure. So kind of getting into some of the Yuga land. We'll just take a quick, I know one of the, like always, of any project, we talk about, oh my God, floor price. Because that's all that matters. But if we take a look real quick at the Bored Ape floor, we're at
absolutely not. I'm not gonna let you share that disaster of a
oh God. Will's gonna share some bullshit.
No, I'm gonna share.
Okay. We got 52.19. This is on OpenSea, of course.
We're going blur. That's where you get the accurate floor.
So about 51.
About 51, and then we can see there's liquidity at 49. So
I forgot Will is a fucking blur maxi. He doesn't. I don't even know. Maybe he has a blur tattoo already. If not, it's coming for sure.
Yeah, he should definitely get one.
100%. He would get some more airdrop, I think, if you get a tattoo. Yeah. So I mean, like 50, 51.
Absolute crazy though. I mean, like some of these, biased of course since I have a merch shirt ape, but like black merch shirt should not be at the floor of the Bored Ape Yacht Club collection.
Yeah, and that just kind of goes to show with, well, and this is, I guess this is another offshoot, but let's just be real. The IP play is fucking awesome if you can do it, but 97% of the people will never do anything with your IP.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them, because they just don't know how. They don't have that connections. And that's fair, by the way. And so then you see these apes where it's like, man, I feel like, man, if you had any connections whatsoever, how could this not be some sort of deal? Right. Well, there it is, right? Like there's a very small percentage of people that can really pull off IP play that actually means anything. And we can get into the blur discussion. And I had some discussion with y'all in the DMs, and I know how this discussion will go. It'll be 1 versus 2. But you know what?
Blur's the best. I mean, you can see everything you need to here.
Oh, I wasn't even gonna. That's fine. Like I could not tell you the last.
You're talking about mid rares being floors.
Yeah, and just the conversation. It's not a fighting point, by the way. It was just a thought that I'd had, and someone else had posted it. Where, not just blur, by the way, but just the instant liquidity. Is that needed? Well, I don't need is not the right word. Is that good for quote unquote, by the way, highly collectible items, not just Bored Ape, not just NFTs, but like you think about like high end, even like trading cards. That's not something you just like, there's a liquidity pool that you're just like, oh shit, here we go. I can unload these fucking 5 Charizards I've been holding. And so like, I think that's the discussion that I'd be interested in. I can see the positives for sure, because you can instantly get out.
Right. Yeah, that's so attractive to people coming in, right? Like I personally would never go buy a Charizard Pokemon card, because if I buy it, like I'm gonna have to try and find a seller, I'm gonna have to advertise it, market it, etc. And even then, like you have no clue if you're, somebody else is gonna come in and buy it.
But I think that's my point, is that market is actually collectibles and this is shit coins. That's literally my point. That like,
well, I mean,
a person that buys a Charizard isn't necessarily thinking I'm going to flip this in 24 hours. They're probably like, either number one, they're a fucking Pokemon. By the way, side note, Pokemon trading cards in some serious hot water, because them dudes that, did you see this?
No,
dude, this is absurd. Side note for everybody, this is absurd. Pokemon, whoever like prints them, they got caught like pulling all the rare shit. Like one of the guys went in and like sold, like had like a fucking stack of this many of the rares, and they found out he works at the place, and they're like, they don't know how long it's been going on.
Jeez.
So these like really rare Pokemons that no one's been able to freaking pull, these dudes have been like selling them. Like, what the frick? But my point is, does the picture even matter now?
Definitely still matters.
But
right?
why?
I mean, you want
why though?
Something that you like.
Would it matter? I mean,
it also goes back to like, if your play is to make money off of this, then you'll just end up buying a floor.
For flipping, you're saying?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like if your sole purpose is, I'm just gonna sell this in a couple weeks or months or a year and make some money, then like, yeah, you don't really care about the card per se, but
I just
definitely
think
like,
I
there's
definitely
a handful of people that are still shopping and buying apes and mutants and other NFTs that they like.
I know
Whatever.
we can't necessarily find this, but I'd be really curious what that percentage was. If somebody could, semi accurately show that, I'd be curious because I think it's really minimal. Like going and buying one that you're gonna hold for a long time. Like to me, this is just farming for token and or flipping, like you said, like maybe trying to buy on a run up of an announcement, etc. If you see a merch is coming or Ape Fest or an airdrop.
What in the world is this transaction right here?
That's something.
Oh, that's probably USD.
Yeah, it's definitely gotta be.
23,000.
It's gotta
Yeah.
be USD.
I'm like, no way.
But again, I just think it's not. And by the way, this is not a complete slam on Blur at all. Like I understand what they're doing. I understand that they're building the tech. All of that is completely like vital, I think, to seeing NFTs thrive. But I'm just curious and maybe that's where the mindset needs to change too, though. Like I'm not even saying I'm right, wrong, or indifferent, but like maybe these really aren't necessarily collectibles. Like people talked about them as collectibles for the longest of times. Like this is something you can collect. It's you're gonna obviously you can use it at PFP. You can obviously flip it. You have staking too, which is a little like that's another layer now. But maybe we were just wrong, and it really is just like I don't know. Like it really is plays more like a shit coin than a collectible. That's what it feels like to me with this liquidity. Cause I don't feel like the majority of these buys every day is just simply farming, right? Like what is it? 90%, 95%.
I mean, yeah, there's probably majority farming right now.
And
but I also think you would be inaccurate to say people aren't buying for the collectible aspect. I mean, when you think about it too, like all video games, you get a rare drop that's a collectible, right? You can either hold it and use the item, or you can go sell it on for RuneScape, like the Grand Exchange, and get money for it.
it's an interesting discussion. I think the percentage of people buying to hold is probably minuscule comparative. And that's where I just like, I don't know who's collecting. It feels like no one.
Well, I mean, that's where, again, it's like we're going to need that next wave of
for sure
of people coming in, right? The next thing that pushes the needle forward that gets, a lot of other people to say like, oh, wow, like crypto is, the way to go.
So then what is that though? So it goes back to what does it matter if teams do with utility? Do people even care about Legend of the Mar? Like this is the conversation I even have with myself where I get out a mirror and I just talk to myself. And then I think about just selling everything and changing my picture to my face. Not really. I've never actually thought about that. But like what brings people in?
Oh, I mean, when it comes to Yuga, developing exciting games.
So it'll be gaming.
I mean, that's one aspect. If you look at Meme Land, right, their whole thing is socialfy and having, like, what's the word? Like unlockable content. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those, like, there are going to be positives, right? Like if you look at Meme Land's, I don't know if it's pfp.com or holders, that one of his website domains, it's literally going to be like, you can create content, right? So imagine you have somebody like Justin Bieber that came on and was like, yo, I'm, creating this content on Meme Land's, SocialFi platform. And in order to unlock it, you have to pay X amount of meme coin or X amount of ape coin or, whatever the scenario would be. Like, you'd be crazy if you didn't think that creators are going to want to use a platform like that, where, especially if they have large followings and they get, 100, 500, 1,000 people to unlock their content. If they have millions of followers, right? Like they're instantly getting paid rather than, tweeting something, having it go viral and you get fuck all from a tweet.
So I guess let me be more specific. I would agree with gaming with Yuga. That makes sense to me. Like if the game is cool, if the Legends of Mara is cool, heavy metal's cool, like I can see people buying that. That doesn't mean floor price goes up, by the way, but I could definitely see like new people entering in because they're like, oh, this is cool. I enjoyed the experience. I saw it on YouTube. What brings a new person into buying Mutant, MAYC, or Bored Ape?
They want club membership.
So that's
right?
what it is.
We don't know what that's necessarily going to look like in the future, right? It could just be yearly tickets to their Ape Fest, which turns into like a Coachella competitor. It could be, you know, access to the clubhouse in Miami whenever you want to go. I mean, we're definitely not at the tip of the ice. I mean, we're just at the tip of the iceberg in terms of, you know, IRL membership utility.
And by the way, I ask these questions because these are ones I ask myself. I ask, why would anyone buy a Bored Ape right now? Because to me, I love Bored Ape because I've been here, right? Like I've experienced it, and it's not just the price point. I've just experienced the community. I've met so many dope people. I'm excited about what they have to do. But and I've asked you guys this too in our little group chat is like what besides airdrops, right? Because we can't just have airdrops for eternity. Is it just Ape Fest? And if it is, does it just have to be like, I don't know, like some serious, like crazy access at a Coachella type event? Is that enough? Or is it, you know, the in real life clubhouse? We don't know what the hell that's going to be. Like,
Right.
Okay, it pops up. Then what? Like, what does our membership get us? It's surely not going to be just those people can get in there, I would think. But is it like a percentage off of your beers? Like, it's
well,
just,
right. I mean, yeah, there's a million different ways that they could, you know, cut the apple. It just kind of depends on how they end up cutting it.
yeah. It's interesting because again, I'm like, I can see the vision of people coming into Otherside and all things attached to Otherside. It's a little more fuzzy for me when we're talking about Bored Ape and Mutant Ape, unless you're like a staking maxi and you have some extra liquidity to go full stake something, and you believe in Ape Token and that's your play. Like that's a massive thing that I think actually even me, I don't talk about that enough. The fact that I have a Bored Ape fully staked with 10,000 Ape coin and I'm making like whatever 30 some Ape a day.
Yeah, right. You're getting $130 a day every
doing
single day doing nothing.
So like
right?
that's
a pretty attractive thing to go buy Bored Ape right now.
And again, I think part of this is just questions in general and not questioning everything, but just questions. But also definitely the timeline. Looking at timelines is not good for the mental stability because it's like, oh, I'm just sold another Bored Ape to go half in Pepe and half in Ape Token, and I'm bullish on I'm bullish on Ape Token too, by the way. But it is kind of, I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of weird when I see people like selling their Bored Ape to go stake Ape Token. I get it, but like, are they ever coming back to Bored Ape, or is it just simply they're gonna stake? Like I saw Johnny, for example.
Well, again, like staking only lasts another 2.5 years or so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, eventually at some point, you're not going to be able to get a return on that Ape coin. You're just going to be left holding your bag of Ape and praying that it's high value.
Let's transition to Ape Token. What sync does Heavy Metal and or Legends of Mara have to do for it to feel good for the Ape sync? Like, is this something you think that it'll be like upgradable, or like what's your like bullish case on? And I'm not saying Ape rips to $20, but what would be cool to see as an Ape Token use case with both of those activations?
I mean, it could be as simple as like with Dookie Dash, it just gives you a boost. It could also be, you know, if they go the route of you're playing like a game and you have 3 lives or whatever, and every time you lose or die or something, you lose a life, and then there's the countdown timer, kind of how they did with the mobile competition.
Okay,
like you can just pay 2 Ape and get your 3 lives back instantly and keep on playing. Like that would be attractive,
right?
But yeah, everybody's talking about, we have Legends of the Mara sync and Heavy Metal sync. Like, yes, there'll be syncs, but are they going to be just like huge syncs? I don't know.
I think Legend of the Mara, I'm not saying huge, but I think it definitely has more of a runway because they have said like a long sustained 2D experience. Like, what does that mean? Is that something that goes on for a while? Like I'm talking a year, 2 years, 3 years. I think Heavy Metal is, I'm a little more in the dark. It feels like we're in the dark completely, but I feel like I have no fucking clue what Heavy Metal will be and I still am not sure. Like we've talked about mechs as skins, as playable characters, as this, that, and the other. we're still not completely sure, right? At the end of the day, we're still not completely sure. And on that note, heavy metals, we're waiting only on the one of one is the only one that hasn't been revealed, which is dope. I'm gonna pull up your stream. So here's the mdvmm.xyz mech types revealed. It came through the Rift is in April. And fun fact, if you know how to use a calendar, we have one more week in April. So I would take a wild guess that this happens next Wednesday.
Yep.
Probably a good guess.
Yes.
Next Wednesday, the 26th, we will keep our fingers and toes crossed for that. The mech type reveals have been fun. Also, Rita, I don't know how to say the name. I think they go by Rita, but does a bunch of like 3D assets and like created not Otherside, the Yacht Club in Fortnite, and like super talented. Well, they did some of these like 3D assets of the heavy metals. Man, looking back at the trial of Jimmy, doesn't that feel like 7 years ago?
Right. And I'm like, literally, it was like 4 months ago.
Bro.
And then it's like, wow, look at everything Yuga's done so far this year. And then, yeah, so if it came through the Rift in April, my guess is, next Wednesday we'll have an announcement about Evo 2 that will start that following Wednesday.
Yeah, it'll be information, maybe lore-based, maybe a trailer, a video, something to read, etc. And then
something to speculate on.
Yeah, and then we'll hopefully it's only a week later we start Evo 2. And then Legend of Mara as well comes out in May as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it said the seasons kick off in the summer, or was it May?
I could be completely insane. And Will says that bullish ape case for these is sustained usage and something that makes people say, oh shit, I don't have enough. I know we've been saying that for a long time. I'm just curious what that is. I thought it was May, but I could be completely insane. Maybe it was on one of their, might have been on their announcement. But I mean, I'm excited either way. Like, there's gonna be a lot of shit happening here over the next, well, at least starting over the next, 2 to 4 weeks with Yuga specifically. And I'm just hoping it's interesting. I'm just hoping it's fun. It doesn't have to like blow my freaking mind, but like just let me think it's at least a little fun and not just because I'm a Yuga maxi. Like let people that don't know anything about Yuga look at us playing it on, Board Talk or something, scrolling YouTube and seeing people streaming this and saying, oh, that's interesting. What is this game they're playing? What is this experience? That's what I guess I'm excited about. Go ahead.
Definitely there's the selfish part of me that's really hoping that Evo 2 and Evo 3 will be in a way where you can't pay somebody else to play for you.
It's going to be a different game as well. And I would also agree because I'll never do that. It's just not in my DNA, and I'm a fucking idiot for that. Probably I'm bullheaded for sure, but I think it'll definitely be more strategy based, and there's still going to be pros that come and like smoke everyone's ass, but at least like let me feel like I have a shot,
right?
Like even if it's like 1 in fucking 100,000, at least let me feel like I actually have a chance. Because in Dookie Dash, like after a few times, I was like, dude, I have literally no shot of being in the top like 1,000 of this, top 5,000 of this, even if I try my best. So it was still fun. Like I played way more than I thought I would. It
was a blast.
But I'm hoping this is similar in the fact that I want to play it, not because I think I'm going to win necessarily, just because I want to play again. I don't even want to look at those.
Bro, disgusting Coda floor. Again, it's just one of those, like, we don't really know what they do right now. So people are wanting out. Here's
great transition, dog. You just threw me at you're fucking Kobe and I'm Shaq right now. I heard this a lot on the timeline and it goes twofold. Number one, in your opinion, is Yuga getting too confusing?
No. I mean,
that's all. That's good for now. I'll get into it deeper. So just know, I would agree. I don't think it's too confusing. Number two, do you think, maybe not wish, do you think they should give out more information rather than this like slow trickle? Would you rather have like, here's the light paper of Legends of Mara, dig at it? Because I've heard a lot of this on the timeline. And I have my own thought and I'd love to hear yours. Now you
I
can
definitely I don't want the light paper. I mean, part of the fun and excitement, yes, it's also stressful when price goes up and down and we're like, we don't have information. What's going on? Um, yeah, I mean, I think part of the fun is that we don't know what to expect. And if we knew everything, then we would just be like, all right, well, when's the end of this game? And like, what's up after this? Right.
Yeah.
And it's always just going to be the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. Right. Like, and that's the big issue with crypto Twitter, right? Is like our attention span lasts for about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So we'll get excited, we'll be bullish on this. And then an hour later, we're like, okay, well, I was bullish for like those 10 seconds. Like, what's next?
Yeah. And that's where it's like, it's just not sustainable. No matter what they did, if they dropped us a light paper and had all the information you could ever desire, you'd still have people read through that shit in like 20, not even 24 hours, like at 2 hours. It could be like 1,000-page document. They'd have it all broken down in 2 hours. And then they'd be like, okay, now what's next? Like,
Yeah, right.
no matter how you do it, it's like,
it'll always be what's next, what's next. And I think it's also one of those, we're going to look back in a year or two and be like, wow, look at like how far the club has come, or like Otherside has come since heavy metals first started, right? Since we all claimed our sewer passes. And like, yeah, I just think long term we'll end up looking back being like, wow, that happened really quickly.
I would agree.
But in the moment, we're like, give me more and give it to me now.
Coda's a buy at 7.8, almost 8, or no?
I mean, I'm still holding off because, again, it's like we don't really know what they do. Like, are they worth, how much even is that in USD terms right now? 15,000, right? Like, is a Coda worth 15 grand? Like, shit, I don't know. Could be worth 10, could be worth 50. Like, who knows?
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. I still love the Codas. I think they're dope. And they'll be important. But what's that even mean, price point, right? It's like, okay.
Well, then, yeah, it's like they're also all so different looking.
Yeah, they are.
How do you even compare this guy to like this guy, like this red guy?
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know, right? If they're all going to have different use cases, are we going to figure that out? But yeah, for now, they're just extremely hard to price.
Agreed. On a little sidetrack note, and then we'll jump into vessels because I'd love to talk a little bit about vessels. I wanted to share this. This from Adidas, and this is actually on the official Adidas website. Is these Indigo Hertz? Not this version, but it's, dude, really fucking cool, if I'm being honest, to see on their official upcoming shoe release a freaking Bored Ape, like on the shoe. Like, that's, dude, if we would have said this like month one of
Adidas would come out and release a shoe with this ape to sell to the masses. Like,
people would have thought you were smoking the best crack in America. These shoes are going to be specific to the alts by Adidas, so holders, 2 pieces, token gated. I wish it was a free claim because I'm not going to buy these shoes, I'll be honest, but if they're a free claim, I'd rock them. There's this hoodie, which is like Punk's comic themed, and then I thought there was one other thing. Oh, there was another piece that's not token gated to this. Here's the Hertz pack. So these the hoodie and there's the ones on the web.
Those shoes are clean as
I like them. Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, I like
both of those. Yeah.
And then this
this
fucking hoodie is actually kind of dope too, dude.
Like, you can't, that's got to be comfy as crap.
That's exactly what it looks like. So like, I actually like a lot of what they did. I think it's subtle enough too. I know they're kind of like fun,
athletic type shoes.
Fun. I like the white ones
boost,
for sure. Yeah, dude. And so I don't know, like at the end of the day, I just keep saying like, bro, we would have literally thought we were insane if we were speculating on, dude, you think Adidas will ever have a Bored Ape shoe? We would have said no fucking.
You think we'll ever collab with Gucci and get
no
specialized,
dude,
limited edition pendants with like the Coda logo? Like,
no.
It's wild.
Completely wild.
It is wild. So
let's talk.
Right. And so then it's like, also you step back and think about it, and you're like, you've got brands like Gucci and Adidas that are over here like backing Bored Ape Yacht Club. Like,
that should make you more bullish, right? You like that? You like the collab? Some people are so weird. They're like, oh, it's Web 2. We don't want those liquidity suckers collab. And I'm like, dude, I don't know, bro. I
definitely I understand that sentiment, right? Like, if it turns out that these codependents cost me $2,000, and really all it is just a trail VFX and a special header and a necklace. Like, I'm definitely going to think twice before buying another Gucci codependent, whatever
whatever
their next drop may be.
Is. For sure, I get that.
And I'm sure they understand that too, right? Like, if we're definitely overpricing this stuff, so
specific to that. But again, I would agree. I'm curious to see like what's the next brand that they partner with, because that these conversations have been being had like for the last year. And so, like, what's the next one to come out? Like, it's
not Dry Fit merch. I will scream. Dude, I want Dry Fit Yuga so I can run in everything Bored Ape Yacht Club. Run, play tennis, play pickleball.
Can we get an actual, like, legit designer behind the merch, please?
Dude, I love, just give me a black shirt, a black, gym shirt, and put the little skull right here. Just right in the middle. Just,
whoop. Yeah, dude. Simple, but we love it.
I will wear that for every outdoor activity I do.
And can we get a logo, an ad on like a NBA jersey in a year or two, please?
That'd be sick.
That would be dope, actually. Let's talk vessels. Vessel price 0.29. That's been pretty steady though, hasn't it? I feel like they've been right around 0.3.
Yeah, they've been right around 0.3. Kind of pushed. I think they started at 0.35. They pushed up to like 0.31 or 0.32 off the news about the 1 per deed. Looking at farmers, they're also down. They've been around 0.42, I think. Yeah. Again, not like a ton of movement, but to people that are trying to eke out little bits of profit, that definitely matters, especially with the 5% too.
No, it definitely does. I'm
excited. You look at it all, we're still missing 62,000 vessels. So, still a lot more supply. Who knows?
Are you holding some vessels currently or not yet?
I am. Yeah, I'm holding 2 farmer and 2 hunter.
Okay. Yeah, and I think I've got 3 hunters, 2 farmers, and an enchanter.
Yeah, I definitely plan to pick up an enchanter at some point.
Right.
But again, it's just one of those until I know more. Like, 0.7 could be undervalued, could be overvalued.
Right.
No idea. All right, this could be the 100K PFPs that you guys are expecting to trade at $50 a pop for all the armies. Like, well, we don't know.
It could be. We'll come back to the screen in just a second because I'd love to continue looking at Blur. This is their most recent update, which happened yesterday. Stay updated on Otherside. Legend of the Mara, decoupled Dakota's vessels. Obviously, you can always go into news.yuga.com. You should have that login. Like, you have a picture, a phrase that you said. And this gave us a little bit of more information. And again, this is like the slow drip, if you will. And Other Deed Expanded NFT, which is the new one. You got to burn your original deed. And if you have a code on it, it decouples. Otherwise, it goes into the Other Deed Expanded NFT. Will first serve as the board. So board game. That sounds like strategy to me. For the 2D web-based game, Legends of the Mara. And the Legend of the Mara, you will need at least 1 Other Deed Expanded NFT and at least 1 of the following to play: a Coda Mara, a Mara, which is hunter or farmer. Interesting how they differentiated, by the way, because does that mean enchanter is the only one that can be a Coda Mara? Or a vessel. That's an interesting, the way they did the language there is interesting to me. Only 1 vessel can be nested on any given Other Deed Expanded at a time. So choose your vessel or first vessel to nest into Mara wisely. The mechanics of nesting will be further defined in the Legend of the Mara light paper. That's got to be next Wednesday, right? Light paper next Wednesday. Gotta be. Vessels will, with Enchanter trait and Enchanta Mara, have a special role, and their magic will soon be revealed. So again, dude, I think it's dope. It was a little bit of information. Again, we talk about slow drip, but I find that little slight information there where hunters and farmers will be this, and the Coda Mara, well, it didn't have enchanters by it, and maybe it's not. Maybe enchanters completely separate entity where they're fucking doing magic and shit and making things faster, etc. Dude, the winged helmet. Still don't have one of those sons of guns.
Definitely starting to fly under the radar. Attention's not quite there. They were around $1,000, and so we've slowly just watched them keep on pulling back, which I assume will continue to be the case probably for another year or so.
No, I agree. I think I think this is one to have. I'll pick one up at some point, but I actually feel pretty confident that these will be under like 0.2 ETH at some point, just because I know the space too well. They get bored, and Otherside relics, you're going to need to see like many of these things happening and popping up, which, by the way, side note, I'm extremely bullish on this collection as a whole, because I just think every time we go into a trip, like, I think you can bet your ass that there's going to be some other relic that you can collect, that you can win. And I think that's really, really dope, because again, talk about video games, you talk about skins, weapons, etc., that you can win. Here we go. Otherside. This is our version. So I think it's dope.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool if, the next time it's like a plate body of some sort, and then the following time it's like plate legs of some sort, and then it's like, do you have all the fully assembled outfit?
No, for sure. I think
like the first OG piece of
that would be dope. Will be dope. It'll be a flex for sure. I'm trying to think what else. Me bits. Have you looked at them recently? I know I don't have them pulled up.
They're just kind of getting traded down to 0 at the moment.
Nice, dude.
Not really. I mean, I picked one up at like 2.9 a couple weeks ago, and so seeing them at 2.2 definitely kind of sucks.
I had not looked in a couple days, and they've gotten smacked a little bit, but everything has.
Yeah, everything has.
I do want at least one and maybe two of these jokers. So I'll be honest, I've been patient. Some of that's just because I wasn't liquid, instantly liquid. You guys always give me a hard time, because you're right. There's ways that I could become pretty liquid pretty fast, but it's made me hesitant, and it's worked out in my favor. But I badly do want one, because I think when they start delivering, I think you talk about roadmap, utility, excitement, new things, new tech. I think MeBits will be doing some really dope things. That doesn't mean they run to 100 ETH, but 2.2, maybe 2 flat, like that. I feel like that feels good. Oh, yes, heavy metals. Do you have any heavy metals still?
I have a Celestial that I picked up as soon as they showed the teaser for it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Entirely too much at 3,869 when I could have just waited and bought at 279. But you win some and you lose some, so not overly worried by it.
What's the if you have this handy, what is the companion trait? What's the floor of that? I'd be curious how close they are together.
348 compared to 14, so good 2 week premium. Weren't they? I'm pretty sure they were at like a 3 or 4 premium at some point, and then
they were for sure.
But definitely, I mean, people just wanting liquidity, wanting out.
That's another one of those things. I actually really do want a companion. I know that it might be some just like silly simple, but just like seeing it in some of like the early not leaked, but pictures of, the N-Way game. I'm like, man, I want a fucking octopus or whatever, like build my shit. Like, damn, dude. I don't really want to pay 2 ETH more for it, but we'll see. I'll get my me bit will become coming to the vault first before any kind of companion.
There you go.
Oh, heavy metal though. I think we'll see that here again. Obviously, the next 7 to 10 days. Light paper for Legend of the Mara probably next 2 weeks. And then we're off and rolling with Evo 2. And it goes back to, and please keep pulling up whatever you want. I was just gonna say content. We do some content. We wish we had more time to do this even more. We all currently work, normal, quote unquote, normal jobs. I don't know if teaching's normal. We do some weird things daily, but we love content. The other thing is there's really dope people creating content that's actually like informational, not just on Yuga, not just on Bored Ape, but there are a lot that are focused on Otherside with Baron and Nana and Nash, who does his Friday space, and Otherside Wiki. There's all these people that are creating great content. And you said, you made a good point when we were off air, is it will matter soon. Like it will matter. And those people will get, more love to what they're doing soon. Currently, man, I was telling you earlier, I'm not going to be as specific as I was with you.
Spaces.
I'm not going to be as specific as I was with you, but let's just say this. I was in a space because I like to listen to spaces when I'm doing other stuff. I was putting my son to bed. I was in the space. Dude, this is an NFT space, by the way. That's what the title says. They're not talking about anything about NFT. They're talking for 15 to 20 minutes on like hygiene. And like hygiene's cool. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm all about no stanky breath. Make sure you got them armpits taken
Bro,
care
if I
of.
got a deodorant tub with the Bored Ape Yacht Club logo, like,
Yes, dude. Yes.
talk about
Dude,
utility.
that's what we need. Apparently, that's the utility. I mean, my point is, there's like 100 people in the space, and I'm thinking to myself, there's so many other cool content. And then people say, Yuga and Bored Ape is so confusing. I don't know how I'll ever understand. I'm like, dude, you just wasted like fucking 5 hours talking about fucking deodorant. Let's fucking put the crack pipe down for a second. Like,
Yeah, it's really not that hard to understand. You got Bored Apes, you got mutants, you got the companion dogs, and then you've got heavy metals and Legends of the Mara, and all go into Otherside.
that's the thing. And Harry, shout out to Harry. He's done some of these like silly, simple like drawings, like little, like look like kid sketches, and they actually blew up because it was like, here's a hunter, and it had like a little spear that looked like, it was like a little bean. It looked like shit. It wasn't a good drawing. That's not.
Yeah,
the
it's
point.
one of those ELI 5.
Literally.
Like,
And so like,
a kindergartner can understand it. You can understand it.
and that's the whole point, right? But it's like that got traction. So I think sometimes those of us that are creating content, don't forget to do like small bite-sized pieces. And I know that sounds semi-ridiculous, but people learn in different ways. So if you love to do Twitter Spaces, try to do something else once a week, even if it's like a graphic that you create, because it's a visual thing rather than auditory thing. Or if you're only doing threads, try to put together a video, a 5-minute video, or do a podcast thing. Try to get your information to different learners. As a teacher, I can tell you that every human, not just kids, listens and learns in different avenues. And so I think that helps. But the content will matter soon. It was just like semi-tilting. And that happens. Like I get tilted easily. You guys know this because we have the group chat. I get tilted very easily when it comes to content and how people use their time. But at the end of the day, guess what? It's their time. They can use it however they want. So continue making great content. Try to make it better. Try to fish for those new people. Go ahead, my guy. Otherside. XYZ.
Oh, I've got nothing else.
Okay.
This is just the,
what the hell is that creepy guy? Is that a Revere?
Yeah, I think it's a Reaver.
Reaver, yeah.
It's kind of badass looking.
Dude, and why is it right there though, dude? It's like massive.
Learn more.
Now we're gonna speculate for the next 3 hours on why
I
they're
think
gonna be
these
the
will
bad
look pretty
dudes.
cool.
I agree.
Looking at their little glowing stuff.
Okay, so here's a question though. Coda Mara, how do we get them? Is that from a vessel?
Yeah, that's probably going to be from nesting your vessel.
Yeah.
And then over a period of time, they'll eventually reveal, and then boom.
I'm excited, dude. Like
Me too.
creative beings. I'm all about it. Let's do it. Man, we have ripped through at least 10 topics in a matter of 50 minutes. So God bless us. It's still bearish out there. Good luck with your shitcoin trading. I hope you make a fucking massive bag. And when you do, go support a one-of-one artist that you like. Even if it doesn't have to be expensive, by the way.
Pump my bags.
You can buy Yuga stuff as well. But like legitimately, supporting a good artist, that doesn't have to be somebody that sells their shit for 10 ETH. If it does and that speaks to you, go for it. It could be somebody that sells their stuff for $50. If you like it, you vibe with it, take some of those profits, put it into something. I'm not saying spend it all, and diversify and hold some to the moon. Hope Pepe just freaking lets you retire. But at the end of the day, I'm ready for these activations from Yuga, but also other projects to see what they got cooking, because I just bearish takes bad for my bearish brain.
Don't look at him, Phil. Touch grass.
I need to apparently mute the entire timeline. Appreciate you, AT. Appreciate you, Ziggy. Thanks for everybody for coming. We do appreciate everybody coming through, showing love. We love talking Bored Ape. We love talking Yuga, and we love talking about bears. Bryce, any last thoughts, mementos before we close shop tonight?
No. Take a deep breath. Don't let it get to you too much. I'm definitely bearish right now, but hopefully we'll come out a bit better.
Yeah, and I got a perfect sentiment. Stay bored. That's it,
Stay
bro.
bored.
Hey, this has been Board Talk. It's Phil. It's Bryce. Will's in the background shooting us nasty messages in the private chat. We love you guys, and for real, stay bored. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Peace.
That money clip us now, the new now looks like, whoa, upgrade her drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets. When I'm performing, never boring, now you can't afford it. Champagne Perrier,